Severe weather looks possible as we go into Sunday. Find out what to expect coming up right now on the Bluegrass Weather Report. And welcome back to the Bluegrass Weather Report. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. It is Saturday, June 24th, 2023. Hope you're doing well. We got some severe weather heading towards the Bluegrass State and the entire Ohio Valley as we go into Sunday. Let's take a look at what to expect. Right now on Radar Omega, we're tracking a few isolated showers as we record this Saturday evening around 6 p.m. But we look off to the west and we see a very potent cold front starting to form back up towards the Dakotas. Strong area of low pressure across North Dakota and portions of Minnesota. You can see a couple tornado warnings there up near Grand Forks this evening. And this system is diving down to the southeast, and it has the Ohio Valley in its sights. And that storm system is what could bring us severe weather as we go on into your Sunday. So let's take a look at the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. This is for Sunday, June 25th. This is the update on Saturday, so this could be updated again on Sunday. So be sure to check out meteorologist Shane Smith on Facebook or S. Smith Weather on Twitter for updates as we get the newest data in tomorrow. But right now they have most of the state of Kentucky under an enhanced risk of severe weather. That's the areas highlighted in orange. We have an area of marginal severe weather in the light green, in the darker green. And there in the yellow, we have a slight risk of severe weather. I'm going to zoom this in to the Ohio Valley. You can see that slight risk from Cleveland just to the west over towards Lafayette, Indiana, down through Indianapolis, Evansville, extending all the way down into Arkansas. Most of Arkansas included in that slight risk. Same story down for most of Mississippi and Alabama, the northwest corner of Georgia, the western two-thirds of Tennessee. Most of the state of Kentucky, though, is in that enhanced risk. And I think for western Kentucky, central Kentucky, and southwest Ohio, that is where we're going to have the best chance of severe weather tomorrow, Sunday, during the evening hours. And let's take a closer look at what we can expect, the different modes of severe weather possible. We're going to first take a look at the hail outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Notice it's showing a 15% chance of severe hail with all the area highlighted in the yellow. That's from London, Kentucky, back up towards Columbus, up into northern Ohio, back towards South Bend, extending down towards Paducah, Kentucky, back into Arkansas. And notice these hatched areas. That is large hail. That is hail that could be larger than an inch widespread, maybe pushing closer to 2 inches. The tornado outlook can't be ruled out either. Notice a large chunk of western and central Kentucky under that 5% risk of tornadoes, and that pretty much cuts off from I-75, points to the west, but that does include the cities of Lexington, Louisville, E-Town, Frankfort, extending up into southeast Indiana, including Madison, back over towards Vevey, just cutting shy of Cincinnati. And then finally, the wind forecast calling for a 30% chance of damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. That's from just south of Columbus through Cincinnati, including Lexington, Louisville, Kentucky, Bowling Green, London, and Somerset, Moorhead, down into central Tennessee, including the greater Nashville area. So high winds looks to be the biggest player tomorrow as we watch for this severe weather. Now, we should see 2 rounds of storms tomorrow roll through the Ohio Valley. The first one's going to be early Sunday morning, especially in western Kentucky and central Tennessee. But these should be dying down as they dive off to the south and the east. Where they're hitting in the middle of the night, they won't have that instability, that fuel, that energy from the sun to sustain them. But one of the 2 of these storms could be on the strong to severe side. Heavy rains, gusty winds, and some intense lightning possible. But as we go into the afternoon and evening, that's when we'll see that best chance of severe weather sparking off. I think around Cincinnati, Louisville, E-Town, Bowling Green, Evansville, those chances look best between about 5 p.m. in the afternoon through about 10 p.m. in the evening. Over into central Kentucky along the I-75 corridor. We're talking this is probably an 8 to midnight type deal for you folks. If it gets into eastern Kentucky, we're looking at probably a 10 o'clock through about 3 or 4 in the morning type deal, but I think that should die down a bit. That is the look from the HRRR model. The big thing I'm going to be looking for personally tomorrow with these storms is whether or not we can clear the cloud cover out tomorrow morning. With that rain in the morning out in western Kentucky, that is going to create a cloud field. That should stop the storm progression at least a bit, but once we clear the skies out, we will see that line of storms initiate, and at least according to the HRRR model, we are going to see some clearing by about 4 or 5 in the afternoon in portions of southern and eastern Kentucky. Want to take a quick look at the NAM forecast model to see how it shows the storms progressing, see if it's different from the HRRR model, the high resolution rapid refresh. And you can see there, this is tomorrow morning. This is going to be about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. And notice those strong storms working through southern Indiana, western Kentucky, down into central Tennessee before dying off. And then that next line of storms fires up during the afternoon and evening hours. This would be right around 7, 8 o'clock East Coast time Sunday. And then this will be midnight going into the early morning hours of Monday as those storms dive off to the south and east. So the NAM model looking a little bit different than the HRRR, but that's to be expected. No model is going to nail the placement of these storms exactly. We're just looking for overall trends and patterns, and it looks like the best chance of severe weather, at least in Kentucky, southern Ohio, southern Indiana, is going to be tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon, between about 3, 4 p.m. Central Time. Add an hour to that for East Coast time, going into the evening hours, say around 10, 11 o'clock. One thing I wanted to look at is CAPE. That is convectively available potential energy that my buddy Ryan Hall calls Nader juice. I notice in western Kentucky spiking up over 4,000 joules per kilogram. That is a lot of energy for these storms to fire off of. So that would probably be the area of greatest concern for the most strongest storms would be there. Also notice we got a lot of shear. Notice how the winds at the surface coming almost due west, but you go up into the, or excuse me, that's at 500 millibars. That is at jet stream level, about 10,000 feet off the ground. 850 millibars, the blue arrows, that's southwest, and then south to southwest at the surface, that's the red arrow. So with that shear, there's rotation in the atmosphere. It causes the storms to roll, and when they roll and hit an updraft, they kick over to the side, and that's how you can get tornadoes forming. So notice we do have that shear in combination with that energy. So that would at least indicate to me a pretty good chance of at least 1 or 2 tornadoes from Bowling Green up to Louisville, up to Cincinnati, just south of Indianapolis. So folks living in those areas need to be on the lookout. That is where we have the best chance, I think, of tornadoes tomorrow. Here's one last model, the European model, showing the morning storms rolling through and then storms firing up in the afternoon. And then notice we actually get in a little bit of a trough pattern for most of next week. So I think temperature is going to cool down a little bit as we head into the next couple of days before we see more storm chances return, especially as we get into next weekend. We can take a quick look at those temperature anomalies and see just how cool we're going to get as we go into next week. Little analysis on the fly, but hey, that's how we do things here. You can see warming up for those storms on Sunday. That'll provide the fuel, and then we're a little bit below average, although not quite as bad as we were for most of last week. As we go into this week, just getting stuck in that trough a bit, but notice that heat building in the west by next weekend, and then it'll finally move in here by, say, next Saturday or Sunday. So that was an awful lot to talk about here on the Bluegrass Weather Report. Thanks so much for checking us out. Remember to like and subscribe for the latest updates on weather. And be sure to hit that share button. Let folks know what's going to be going on and have multiple ways of getting severe weather tomorrow if you live in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and Indiana. Weather radio is your best option. Multiple apps on your cell phone. Just be sure to have multiple ways to get those warnings, and I'll try to post some updates as needed. So until next time, friends, take care and stay weather aware.